Morning guys, it's Lisa here. It is Wednesday the 11th of July. It's fairly early in the morning. I am ready for work. I'm going interviewing today, so I'm looking for somebody to cover a lady who's about to go off on maternity leave in my team. So I'm going to head off and an interview, but I thought I would take the time to do an upload before I went off to work, just purely because of time. Everything's gone a bit mad. So I'll explain what's happening. I've just come back. I uploaded a Stitch With Me and obviously explained kind of a little bit of background in terms of what I've been up to and what's happening. So if you haven't watched that, then I'll just do a kind of a brief recap in terms of, you know, what's been happening. But obviously I've just come back off 2 weeks holiday, so I returned to work on Monday. Had a really nice time. For those who don't know, we've had kind of a bit of a mini heat wave here in the UK, which has been fantastic. Really unprecedented warm weather, so I couldn't have picked a better 2 weeks off to just chill out in the sun. So in the end I didn't actually do very much. I didn't get across to the East Coast because obviously I've got a static over there. Just because the weather was so much better inland where I am. It was a bit cooler on the coast, and I thought, well, yeah, I can go and chill out and spend some time over there, but I'd rather be in the sun. So I just kind of chilled out in the sun, did a bit of stitching, not a lot because I just wanted to be outside. I read books, and just did, you know, stuff that I generally don't get a lot of chance to do outside of work, particularly with reading. And then over the last few weeks I've decided that I'm going to start some house renovations, and kind of made the decision pretty quickly. So within a couple of weeks of me posting my last update, I'd pretty much got the builders moving, picked out kitchens, because I am doing a bit of a conversion, which is why I'm filming in a different room. This is my office, and at the moment is the only tidy, clean area that's in my house. You know, you start to do work on 1 or 2 rooms, move stuff, and then your entire house is disrupted, isn't it? It's just wild. And then that's without the dust that's obviously covering everything right now. So the plan is, I've got a kitchen and a dining room that are adjoined by 2 wooden doors that just sort of open up. I live in a reasonably sized, good sized house, and I have a disproportionately small kitchen with very few cupboards and not very much storage space. And I'm not master chef. I don't cook a lot. I'm a reasonable cook, but with me being on my own at the minute, I tend not to like cook gourmet style meals because only me is going to eat it, isn't it? So, but despite that, you know, from a resale value or a resale proposition, you know, I put the house on the market a couple of years ago thinking I would downsize because, you know, it's a big house, and I probably didn't really need all the room, and I don't need all the room, but somehow managed to fill it, as you do. But you know, a couple of the feedback that came back from people who really are into cooking was that there wasn't enough storage space for all of the things as it stands, and I totally agree that. Bear with me, I'm just going to close the curtain, the window. Oh, sorry, somebody started to saw outside. It's nothing to do with me this time. But anyway, it was a new build when I bought it, so it's the designer's fault that it's not very big. So the plan is to knock through the kitchen and the dining room and make it one big L-shaped room, and then I'm going to put in a picture of the back of the house as it stands for you so you can see what I'm referring to. But there are 2 sets of patio doors and then a window which is next to it. That part of the wall is all coming down, and then that stretch of wall will be filled with bifold doors. So what that will create is a really nice, bright, airy living space. So there'll be a full bank of cupboard space, there'll be a centre island which will house the hob, and then on the sort of far side will be a seating area. So the plan is that pretty much that will become my living space really, and where I'll spend the majority of my time, and then obviously my formal lounge area or, you know, sitting room will probably be for more, I don't know, you know, more formal situations, or, you know, if I've got friends round or something like that. But yeah, I think it's all kind of gone that way now, isn't it, with the new style of houses that are being built here in the UK, a lot of open plan stuff. So at the minute, my dad is, well, I'll put a picture in of the dining room for you. You can see the mess. He's like channeling out all of the electric work and all of the plumbing work that is sitting on that wall that won't be there next week when the builders come and knock it down, in essence. So I'm living in a bit of a shithole, to be fair, so it's a bit stressful. Everything's, as I said, covered with dust. So I've come to the quiet spot where I can, you know, just sort of show you everything and then sort of put it back in the storage bag so it's not going to get covered with a layer of dust. So anyway, I'll get on with the update. So there are a couple of things I want to share with you as well, but in terms of the stitching, considering it's been, what, just over 5 weeks since my last update, it's not been a mega amount, not as much as I would have liked, but that's because my holiday, where I was expecting to do like loads of stitching, the weather was good, and although I did do some, it was hot, and trying to sit and concentrate and count while you're outside, yeah, it was tough. But I'll show you where I'm at. So the piece I spent the most time on this month was my Chris Ortega Steam Heart piece. I didn't work on this at all the previous month, but I kind of fell in love with it and I didn't want to put it away, and I spent probably the first 3 weeks working on this piece. So I'll put in a picture of what it will look like when it's done and where I was when you last saw it. And I've unravelled it this time for you so you can have a proper look at my progress. So this is where, whoop, I'll probably stand for this one, whoop, this way, where I've got to now. So I have been working, it's a different camera and it's the reverse. I have been working sort of over here, so at the point where I'd done like the last update, I was sort of up here. So I've come further down the page and across into this area here. So I've kind of started to, you know, put a bit of a, I was going to say a dent in it, but it's not really. Oh God, there goes my board. It's not really, is it? You know, there's still an awful long way to go with this, but I don't know, I really enjoy working on it. It was good, and to be honest, this month I'm looking forward to picking up again for you know, maybe a week or so to see what I can get done, but thoroughly enjoying this. I'm obviously stitching another Heaven and Earth, which I'll show you in a minute, which is smaller. It's not a mini, but it's an ornament size, and there's, you know, a lot more confetti in it, where this, you know, you've got bigger chunks of blocks of colours with it being a full size, obviously. So I feel as though I make, it's faster progress than the mini per se. So I feel as though I can complete a page faster on this than I can on my minis that I've done, or my story keeps, for example, the one that I finished, was it earlier this year? No, it was last year, wasn't it? My Simply Meant to Be. So yeah, so I think at that point I will show you my other Heaven and Earth design. So this is the Enchanted Christmas Ornament by Donna Glessinger, and I'll put a picture in of where I was, or what it looked like when it's done, and where I was last time, and then I'll show you what we've got now. So the plan with this, as I mentioned in my last upload, was to start to do some of the confetti work. It's really creased. I've just literally taken it off the key snap, I'm sorry, so it looks like a bit of a mess, but anyway, you'll be able to see. So it was to start filling out some of the confetti areas. So I was like kind of leaping ahead, because to get to blocks of colours with it, rather than actually, you know, I need to go back and put these random, you know, ninja stitches in and odd stitches. So this is where I've got to now. So I think in comparison to where I was, I've made some really good progress in terms of particularly filling out this area here. So I feel like, you know, this page here, whoop, there we are, is almost finished. now. There's just a couple of random stitches, and then you can see here the reindeer's nose, his backside, and then this is obviously the rest of the sleigh. The toys need filling out as well, but you know, on the whole, I think there's quite a difference in terms of what I've got to, and I really only spent about a week or so on this. So with, you know, a bit of a focus and, you know, a good week of work on it, I think that I can have the bulk of this middle stretch finished, and then I can get back up and work on these toys and then progress, because really there's only partial pages to form the circle left here, and then obviously I've got to come down and sort of finish these bottom partials, but there's not much on that. So, you know, where are we now? We're in the 7th month of the year. I want this on the wall for Christmas. I think if I keep focused on it and, you know, keep moving in the way that I'm doing, I think it's still a possibility to get that finished for year end, and still for me that is the overall goal. This is my focus piece. You know, I kind of set myself that at the beginning of the year, that this was my goal, along with some other Christmas stitching as well that I really did want to have framed and displayed in the house this year, because I've not really had any Christmas pieces, and I just like the idea of having something like really festive up. Now, speaking of Christmas stitching, I started on one of the smalls that I'd got that I've just mentioned. So this is a Country Cottage needlework, and this is Merry Christmas My Dear. So cute, I love it. So I'm stitching on a spotted fabric, and it's not the same fabric that's shown here. This is the one that the So and So website put with it. This is their version. So in terms of colours, I think it's maybe a little bit just off, you know, in terms of everything standing out, but despite that it still looks okay. So it's not quite finished, but I have made a decent dent on it. So I've obviously got Christmas My Dear sewn in. You've got the 2 deers, and then obviously I've started on the work along the bottom, you know, with the holly berries and things like that. So I think that will be really nice in a frame at Christmas. So obviously I've still got to come across and do the rest of the trees over here yet, and you know, the wording's not finished, but you know, I think it's reasonable progress, and I think that, you know, next time I think this could be a finish for next time, or be just about there. So that would be one piece finished for Christmas, which would be really nice. So this has got some of the what is it that's in here? Oh, I can't remember. Classic Colourworks. So it's got yeah, it's got licorice red in, which is lovely. It's got lemongrass, which is kind of the green colour, and then it's got some sampler threads, brown bear, and the rest of DMC. So it's nice to stitch with some of the variegated, you know, over dyed threads as well for this. And I think, you know, the different colours just add a little bit more to it. So I'm really enjoying that. I did sit out in the garden and stitch that, so it was quite weird sitting out in the blazing sunshine stitching a Christmas piece, but you know, it was fun. And then last but not least, it's my autumn at Hawker and Hollow. So I'll show you a picture of where I was before, and I'll show you now. So I actually did a fair chunk of this on my Stitch With Me video earlier, well, I think it was last weekend. So yeah, I've made some significant progress. I've taken it off the Q-snap for you this time. How generous of me to allow all this fabric to sort of float about, but you can see now I've almost got those 2 blocks finished at the top there. Let me pull it tight for you. So I am going back in now, and I'm filling in. Let me stand up because I think it'll be easier and bring it forward. I'm filling in on this house now the rest of the brickwork, which is done in like a yellow colour. So I'm almost halfway through that, and then I'll go back and do these pumpkins along the bottom. Now I've got the colour thread, because this is one that Denise sent me, and then I just about finished this second block here, and then realised I was missing a shade of the MPI silks for the bottom, and I can't believe it. The saving grace on this is, because obviously I had a bit of a hoo-ha and Denise shipped me stuff from Canada and brought it across the UK when she was visiting family. It was actually one I'd missed off so-and-so. Yeah, so I've ordered the MPI silk plus another pattern, which is, you know, obviously I had to justify shipping, you know, a skein of MPI. So, yeah, I did get another pattern. I've got a couple here that I want to show you in a moment anyway. But yeah, that's where I am. So I've got to go back and fill these couple of pumpkins in. Pumpkins here, finish that wall, and then those 2 blocks are finished. But I just want to show you, let me get him in. Oh my God, this scarecrow, guys. The back stitching on his hands and his feet to look like straw. Oh God, he's so stinking cute. I love doing that. You know, when you do it, you think, oh God, he's just so sweet. I think the back stitching, there's not a lot in this, but the little elements of detail are so sweet. Right, I've forgotten to tell you all my fabric sizes and what count they are, so I'm just going to whiz through it because a couple of people have pulled me up on not doing this in the past and I'm naughty. So this is a 40 count. I think it's a linen. Or an even weave. Might be more linen-ish. I think it's a linen. It's vintage country mocha, so it's 40 count, and I'm stitching this 1/2 in MPI silks. So yeah, I only wanted to use one strand of the MPI, and obviously do it on a smaller count or a larger count. Smaller, larger. So, you know, the stitches would be smaller and I wouldn't have to use like 2 strands to be able to do it. This is done on a 32 count kind of linen 2/2, and then my Christmas ornament is stitched on 18 count ADA, and that's 2/1, and then my big Chris Ortega piece is stitched 1/1 on 25 count even. No, that's 25 count Lagana, that one. So that's what I'm stitching all of these on, and the counts of thread that I'm doing. And I like to stitch the kind of the minis and the ornaments, you know, like I did the Simply Meant to Be piece. I did that on 18 count, and because some of them are on smaller counts, I think it just sort of saves my eyes a bit, and I find it easier to work on, you know, like an 18 count. Obviously it's, especially in ADA, because you're not having to count, like obviously with that Christmas piece, yeah, it's 32 count, so technically it's 16, but you have to still count, don't you, and you're skipping a little square. So yeah, so that is my progress to date. So plans for the coming month, obviously I've got a lot of upheaval in the house. I've got obviously to keep on top of all the dirt and the debris and things like that. So the reality is I probably won't get as much done as I would like, which is a little bit of a shame. But obviously focus pieces are the Christmas ornament. I would like to work on the Chris Ortega a little bit, and you know, I would like to get that Merry Christmas My Dear perhaps finished or well on the way to a finish. The Ultimate Ochre and Hollow, I don't mind if I don't work on that at all this month. It really doesn't matter. But you know, if I can sort of continue a little bit of progress on an evening maybe, or weekend, depending. We'll see. But yeah, you'll have to bear with me, guys, as things slow. It's not through choice, it's just through necessity. So I've got a couple of things. I picked up, so I've got another one coming, but prior to me realising I was an MPI silk missing, I went on the So&So website, because I've kind of, the Nora Corbetts, Mirabilias, you know, I've got kind of this, it's not a love-hate relationship, it's a love relationship, but I hate the fact they're not on PDF. Because I really find it hard now to work off a paper pattern, and obviously I've done various scanning things to try and get them onto my good notes on my iPad. But anyway, with these being quite small, I should be able to manage, because obviously I did the Bewitching Pixie, I stitched my Electra last year, so I've got these two, and obviously I've got another one coming which I'll show you next time. But I've got this little beauty who is from the Pixie Couture collection, and she's called Lily. I really love the colours in her. Obviously with me doing renovations in the house, I will be redecorating, so I'm thinking of where I could put all of these, and I think she would look gorgeous in my office. So, you know, I've got her, and then I've also got Snapdragon, which is one of the Pixie Blossoms, and oh, she's just gorgeous. And she would look really nice in my bedroom because I've got a lot of sort of purples in there and sort of deeper shades, so I think she would look really nice in there. Now, the one thing that I wish I'd done with Electra, so the Bewitching Pixie, is stitch her on a hand-dyed fabric, and I'd never really got into hand-dyed fabrics before, but I kind of want to because I like Electra, but I'm not that keen on the fabric I stitched her on, to be fair, and she's not framed, and she's probably not framed because, you know, I don't know. So anyway, I have been on a website, and I'll just get the name of it because I've written it down here. So it's called, if you Google fabricview.com, and then that will open up like the cross-stitch design and fabric viewer. You can like superimpose these patterns. You can select them from a drop-down menu and then put the designs on, God, so many different hand-dyed fabrics from around the world. I mean, you've got, obviously I'm from the UK, you've got Chromatic Alchemy, you've got, what is it, Crafty Kitten, Sparkly's here. I mean, from the US, oh my God, you've got so many in the US, haven't you? Hand-dyed by Steph. Oh, I can't even remember, but if you go onto that website, you can select from a whole range of patterns, and I've got so many, and look and see what it would look like on a hand-dyed fabric. So with that in mind, I would really appreciate your opinion on this. So I've put Lily on Bridget's Garden, and these hand-dyed fabrics are by Chromatic Alchemy because they're in the UK, and obviously it'll be easier and faster for me to get the fabric. So I'm going to stitch all of these on even weave. So this will be on even weave, and it'll be 32 count even weave that I'm going to select for these two. So Lily on Bridget's Garden, let me know what you think about that. Do you like it? And then I've put on my Snapdragon on a fabric called Quiescence. So let me know what you think of this as well. Do you like it, or would you go for a different undertone on the hand dyes? It's the first time I've selected hand dyed fabrics, so I just want to be sure that they look alright. I think they look alright, and I think it kind of sets it off well, but you know, I just wouldn't mind like a second or 100th opinion on it really. So I learned about this website through looking at Denkai Designs. So Charisse, who goes under the name of Denkai Designs on Flosstube's tutorial that she put up about how to kit up a Mirabilia kit, and in that she's kitting up one of the mermaids, it's Bluebeard's Princess, and she talks you through how to use this website in order to get the results. Now I'll link that video below for you because it's awesome, and that's how I learnt to do what I've just done there. So I'm going to link that, and I'm also going to link the website for you so you can go on, and I just think it's just nice because you to be able to see it in the flesh as to what it would probably look like. And on the sort of fabric section, you've got what it would look like on a linen, an even weave and an Ada as well. So you've got the three choices because obviously different fabrics take on board different amounts of dye, so you never know quite what you're going to get with it. Often, you know, from what I can see, the linens absorb more, so are a bit darker, which is why I've ended up going for the even weave, because I just want something a bit lighter in the background, because I don't want the design to be sort of, I don't want the design to fight with the fabric, because it's the design that's the important thing, which is why I've never gone for hand dyes before, because depending on what you choose, there can be quite a lot going on with them, can't there? So it is about striking that balance. So yeah, I'll link both of those below so you can check that out, but I really would recommend Denkai Designs video on kitting up a Mirabilia, but obviously you can kit up anything that you want. Now, and also I've got a request. So this is from Harriet, who I've been sort of chatting with through Instagram, who goes under the Instagram handle of HFM2506. Now, I've asked Harriet, because she's been stitching for a long time, and she's taken photographs of some of the pieces that she's completed, and she is awesome. Her stitching is wonderful. She's completed the Clouds Factory Harry Potter sampler. She's done like the pillow size one. Oh my god, like seriously, Harriet, I'm telling you, please upload some content. We could really do with another floss tuber from the UK, we really could. I have asked her a couple of times, and she will eventually. But Harriet's doing a de-stash on Instagram, so she's put up some stuff that she would obviously like to de-stash, just so she can, you know, get some other stuff as well. So I'm going to link her Instagram account below for you as well, so if there's anything, you know, just have a look, because there might just be something that you really want on there, and go ahead and support Harriet with that. So you never know, we might see her uploading on Flosstube, and if she does, I'll link her account whenever she's done her first one, so you can go and give her some massive Flosstube support and love. But I think, all in all, I think I've got everything covered off. So it's probably a little bit shorter than I anticipated in terms of an upload, so I will call it a day, guys. Obviously I'm going to go off and do my interviews now, so I'm going to just print off the CVs and then get out the door and get this up for you at some point this evening. So yeah, so I'm interviewing. I've got Daisy at the vet's a little bit later on this afternoon. She's okay. She's had a bit of a chest infection, so she's had a bit of a cough, which seems to have now gone. Then I'm at the hairdresser's a little bit later, just for a bit of a trim. And then it's the football. So England are playing Croatia in the semi-finals tonight. Who knew? So I'm not a football fan by any stretch, but by God have I got into it this time. That team have done so well. So I have no idea at this point when I'm uploading this whether or not they've won or not. So I could be crying tonight and you won't know. But if they've lost, you know I'll be upset. But oh my God, I'm so proud of them. Like, this team have really been, and obviously Gareth Southgate, the manager as well, have been really inspirational and have really lifted the mood of the country. You know, we're going through a lot here in the UK from a political perspective, and by no means am I getting into that, oh my God, no. But, you know, we've got a lot on at the minute. I'm sure, you know, wherever you are, you can see the turmoil that we've got. We've got quite a divided nation at the minute from a political perspective, and I just feel that this has just brought people together a lot more in a way that we've not had for a while, and it's surprising how sport can sometimes do that. So I'll be cheering the boys on at 7 o'clock this evening when I get back from the hairdressers. So I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the wonderful comments that you make. Thank you so much for subscribing as you do. I really appreciate it. So thanks again, guys. You take care, and I'll see you in a few weeks. Bye for now. Bye bye.